that Trey Pipkins wasn't in there and some of the 11-on-11. Is he okay?
Yeah, just precautionary.
Any further details on what you're being precautionary about with Trey?
No, we'll know a little bit more after practice, but just precautionary.
Was it something that popped up before
Just in the individual today.
Brandon, how would you assess three practices, kind of generally what you're seeing out there?
I think there's been really good competition on both sides of the ball, and I think you're seeing really good effort and energy, and then I think the execution has been really good. So what it's forced both sides of the ball to do is, to make plays, and both sides of the ball have been able to consistently make plays in all 3 days, and then our kicking game work has gotten better and better, all 3 days. So been pleased for sure.
What is having Kellen Moore for you to go against your defense every day? What is having Kellen done?
Well, it's getting you ready to play against the best in the NFL because, of the scheme, the fundamentals, the play style, and then obviously you're defending a really, really good group over there. And so it's getting us ready to defend all the people that you have to defend nowadays to make a run. So the NFL now is an offensive league, and he's definitely made it competitive on the practice field for all of us.
How would you assess Keenan Allen's first 3 practices?
Keenan Allen looks like he always does. He's been so consistent. He's been, I think for Kellen, who's worked with a lot of good guys, just he's that guy that is going to be able to get open no matter what the situation. He's been a great mentor for the young receivers, but he's still making plays at a high level. He's still being able to get the separation. You guys know what a big threat he is on third down, but I think on early downs we're trying to get him going a little more than I think maybe he has been in years past. And so he's just been very consistent and, again, showing a lot of leadership too. I think, this being I think his 9th or 10th season, you can just really see the impact that he's making on the whole group.
How would you describe the connection between him and Justin?
Well, there's just that unspoken chemistry on the field that you need, based on all the different things that you're going to see, little things that, you can't see from 10,000 feet, but when you're out there and it's moving fast, you got to have that special connection, that anticipation and that trust, so that they have all of that, and you need it. And I think what's been good is Justin's developed that trust with a lot more players now too. He's got that same trust for several other guys now too, and I think that's going to make us even more challenging to defend.
You've seen Mike make a few plays out of the slot so far in camp. You guys have sort of been building from the time you got here in terms of more routes and more stuff that he can do. Is this sort of maybe the next iteration of what Mike can be, maybe operating a little bit more on the inside?
For sure, Daniel. I think when we first got here, we had that vision for him, and I think each year he's grown. And I think Chris Beatty's done such a great job with him, and Chris and I have always believed that with Mike, that he was a complete receiver. And I think with Kellen being able to come here and see it for himself, we just know that that's going to be more challenging for people to defend. And when you're putting him in the slot versus a smaller guy, depending on what the coverage is, it's not just Keenan who's always there. And, we can exploit mismatches the other way. Keenan's kind of a mismatch for a lot of people in the slot, but when you can get Mike, who can give you that deep part of the field element, or, the body position element on slants, where he's a power forward going against the point guard, we think that that's an advantage. So Mike can run the full route tree. Like I said, Mike's one of the top players in the league, and he's had a really good camp to start off with.
You mentioned with Keenan trying to maybe get him going a little earlier and supposed to third down. Is there any explanation as to why that hasn't happened, or why maybe in the earlier downs he hasn't?
No, I mean, listen, when you have over 100 catches for 5 consecutive years, you're getting going. But I just think that different ways than he has in the past, and then similar ways than he has in the past, maybe went earlier in his career. And so I just think that we've been able to explore a lot of those things. And as I told you, the first time we did this, is that, we're going to take training camp to try to find that right combination, that right mixture, so that we feature everybody in the right way.
Joey said that he added 15 to 20 pounds. With his frame the way it is now, what do you expect, and do you expect something different from what you've seen?
I expect a lot. I think for him, as he told you, that's where he's most comfortable. And I think, you have to be able to establish power as a rusher. That's what's going to make you really, really dangerous. And he's got some of the best hands in the NFL. which is kind of what he's famous for. But to set those hands up, you got to really establish power, and it's going to help you in the run game and in the pass game. And so he's feeling as good as he ever has. And he had an awesome offseason, working with Nick, and then I think being here the whole time and OTAs just shows you that commitment that he has, and he's looked really good out there.
How would you assess the offensive line depth over the first couple of days, and how do you expect that to go up when as the pass come on?
Yeah, that starting five has got really good chemistry together, and that's exciting for us. And I think you've seen Rashawn out here the first 3 days. He looks really, really good. He had a really good offseason, and the two young guards, I think the amount of experience that they were able to get last year, I think really gives us an advantage for being so young. They played a lot of football. Started every game last year. Zion, and then Jamari. After that, third game on, he started every single game at left tackle. So you factor that in with Corey's experience, and we love our starting five. But I think where we're a lot better is 6 through 10. I think we have guys that Foster and Will. Those guys have started games for us. Brendan, Jordan. Zach Bailey, who we're really high on. There's going to be really good competition for those 6 through 10 spots.
Brandon, obviously, Derek Ansell's the new defensive coordinator. How's your relationship been with him in the first 3 practices?
Yeah, I mean, DA, Fernando, like I told you guys in the offseason, DA is one of the top coaches I've ever worked with. I think he's one of the best defensive coaches in the NFL. And you guys are going to get to know him more and more, but we've known each other a long time, and I think we complement each other very well. He's doing an excellent job leading our group, and I think in tandem, we've been able to, I think really put together a good plan for training camp. And, our defensive staff right now, I really like how they're working together, and I think you're seeing it out on that football field.
What are some of the things you love about Eric Kendricks so far, especially from a veteran standpoint, and how he's able to, teach the young guys as well?
There are a lot of things I like about Eric Kendricks, and you see him every single day. They're little things, they're big things, but he's calm, and you need that out there in the middle. He's got full command. He can see the game, and he's a complete player at linebacker in the run game, in the pass game, blitzer. He's got outstanding feel and zone coverage for patterns. As I've told you guys, that's kind of what he's known for, is being able to play the passing game at a high level, and then that stat stuffing tackler where it doesn't matter what type of tackle, in the box, out wide. He's an outstanding tackler, and you factor in that play style. He was the engine for one of the top defenses in the NFL for a very long time. So played in a lot of big games, playoff games, and I just can't say enough about the impact that he's made, and just now it's us like working together and finding that perfect partnership, and that's what training camp's for. But he's a total stud.
With J.C. Jackson, is that part of the ramp-up plan, or has that changed at all from what you guys
Yeah,
saw
Lindsay, today he got a little bit more work than he did the first couple days, and as long as he keeps progressing, then that's going to be the plan. But Marco Zacconi and Sal are doing a really good job working him back into practice, and he's looked strong and healthy, and he's been on top of his assignments, and we're a much better team with him out there.
With the JT Woods, I know you said earlier in the offseason that you're not going to be able to really gauge it until the pads come on. But through these first 3 practices, what have you seen?
You know what I'm going to say. The pads are not on yet, so we don't know that much more. But he's done very well through 3 days. I think you felt him out there. You felt his range. He's got command of his assignments, and so it's just about him continuing to improve. He's the right guy to be coaching, as I've told you guys, but again, he's got a lot to prove in pads, but really pleased with how he's working, the professionalism, and now we'll see, I think, in a couple of days here, what he's made of.
Something Justin said after talking with us the other day about his contract was that now he feels like he can play free and fearless. To you, what does that mean when you hear your quarterback say that?
That's what you want from your players, Lindsay, and I can't think of someone I would rather play fast and free than him. Because the quarterback has so much pressure on him. There's so much day to day and game to game, season to season, and the fact that he feels that way, that's exciting for me. I think that shows his experience. It shows what he's putting into his game, and the fact that he feels that confidence not only in himself but his teammates and his coaches, and that's what you're looking for. So he's improving every time he goes out, and I told you guys the first press conference when he signed the contract, that's his secret, is just being able to fiercely work at his game. And so he's improved so much as a player. Today there's a couple things that he did that just really show that progress, and as long as he can continue to play fast and free, it's going to be good for us.
Long way to go, but where's the kicker battle at right now?
Eric, long way to go. There's no pressure. There's nobody here, so we don't know much right now.
Coach, what player has stood out to you the most here in the first week of camp?
You're going to go there with just one, huh? What I've been impressed with is the playmaking on both sides of the ball. It's not been one of those medium, dull training camp environments. You're seeing really good competition. You're seeing plays being made on both sides of the football. And I think you've seen the play speed. If you're a fan out there, I think you can appreciate that through 3 days that both sides of the ball have been making plays. And that's what you want. You want your team that's playing with that type of confidence, and that's what we're trying to create here is the confidence and through the competition. And I've been impressed with that on both sides of the ball so far.
Coach, what can you get from players, especially offensive and defensive linemen, in the days where there's no pads on? When defensive line, you want to have pads. Offensive line, what can you kind of get from those guys before the pads come on these days?
Yeah, I think you're really looking for the play style through the whistle. You're looking for that being, on offense, your O-line covering the runner, the receivers. On D-line, the pursuit and the swarm and coming out of the stack and chasing the football. You want to really create those habits when you're not in pads. And then, when you're in pads, that's when you establish the pad level. That's when you establish really fitting your pads in your hands. You don't really get that until the pads come on. So I think those two things are really important to us and something that we really emphasize when we're not in pads. I think that culture on both sides of the ball is much improved from last year in terms of covering and pursuing the football.